Any other things? NBA, anything happening? I mean, the Lakers beat the Rockets. There was a trade for the Blazers. They got
Kent Bazemore left.
they dealt Bazemore for some Sacramento guys, including
Trevor Ariza.
they got Ariza and Caleb Swanigan, who I think they actually drafted. Talking about Kyrie's leadership abilities.
Before we go live, like, you want to do some like pre-show adjustments, like with this camera, Joe? Like, should we? Is Andy gonna catch that with just slightly skewed?
Slightly skewed what, on an angle?
Like barely. It's like like a 40. Like
I mean,
179 degrees, as opposed to 180.
I mean, I think if it's that little noticeable, I think we're okay.
Celtics Lakers today.
Yeah.
Celtics have been sliding. They're in a slump right now. Not played well. I do think it's funny when it's MLK Day. Let's honor MLK by working our world's best athletes.
Live on YouTube.
We are? We're good?
Live on YouTube, yep.
Let's fucking do this.
Let's talk about some great, important
Check.
stuff.
Here we go. Welcome, everybody, to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I am Joe Praino, coming to you live from the Smuts Studio here in Venice Beach, California. The final episode in what has been a wild run of the Dirty Sports Podcast. The final episode without our captain, Andy Ruther. But that does mean that I am once again joined by Tower 2 of the Twin Towers, the Dream Team, Mr. Tug Coker.
Hello, Joe. I'm obviously the Samson to your Olajuwon. People were scared for a second. You come in saying this is the last show. People are like, wait, what a second.
Yeah, this is
wait a minute.
the last episode before the return of Ruther.
Oh my gosh.
Return of the Mac.
Nick's here as well, we should say.
Nick's here. No twerks today.
And I can probably say with confidence that we've all been talking to Andy on text. Last night he was texting me incessantly about football. I know that he's been getting some time with his family back at home, but I also know he's ready to come back.
Yes, I think he's itching.
He's itching to come back and go to work.
I think, like Brett Favre on Monday Night Football, I think that the best way for him to overcome, some family trauma is to just get right back to work, put up his best performance ever. And, he's chomping at the bit. He's sending me. He's like, I'm doing a deep dive on quarterbacks. I've got. I think he was like Breeze, Rodgers, Russell stats since somebody's last Super Bowl. I was like, save it for when you come back, buddy.
I know exactly.
I was like, sit on it. Keep putting your thing together. I see him doing Charlie on It's Always Sunny. There's a big board behind him. He's all drived up. Obviously, Tug, the major news from the weekend is Championship Sunday was yesterday. The Super Bowl is upon us. I think the show's going to be heavy football. Just because really, when I looked around, not a ton else happening. A little college basketball. Thank God I've got you here. A little NBA trades. The MLB stories at this point are basically
Dusty Baker.
Yeah, it's basically just still fallout from garbage can gate, sign gate. Who's going to take over to manage the Astros, the Red Sox, the Mets, all managerial positions that opened up in the last week due to sign gate. So we'll start with the only place we can start. Championship Sunday was yesterday. We had Chiefs Titans to start the day. Did Chiefs Titans go pretty much how you thought it would? I know you were originally on you got to take the points, but then you came around. You threw that last minute Twitter.
I said this yesterday. I said this on the podcast last week. I'm still gathering information, and in the last minute, I did throw out, and partially was due because I love to fade. When people kind of get on the underdog, when people start to try to convince themselves the underdog may be the right move, I want to get off that ship. And I sent a picture on Twitter. I sent to you first because we had the same thing with the Vikings-Niners when every expert on Get Up picked the Vikings to beat the Niners.
Yeah.
And then on NFL Countdown or whatever, game day for ESPN, 4 out of the 5 people had picked the Titans. I said, this is not acceptable. This is not going to happen.
How are those guys honestly like? How does that even happen?
I just feel like people want to get cute sometimes. And it is cool. Whenever you pick up the upset, like, you look good.
Yeah, especially if it comes through.
It's
But
got to come
4
through.
of the 5 of you guys.
Yeah, when we're all sort of saying the same thing, and you got to, like, I feel like the same thing happens sometimes with Clemson and LSU just being the right side. Like, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, revenge game may be helpful. And also, I just kept thinking about the line value. We talked about this last week, but, like, they were 5-point favorites in the initial game they played on the road, and only 7.5 wherever you got it for this game, which means that, like, two things were happening. Tennessee was better than Vegas had projected, or they were saying, the public thinks Tennessee's better.
Right.
So, and that was the case.
Yeah,
that was the
absolutely.
obvious case.
And it went down just the way I thought it would. Like, Tennessee did a great job, getting out in front in that game, playing their game, getting Kansas City to play down to them a little bit, but it just couldn't be sustained. Kansas City's offense, too good. Patrick Mahomes, too good. Going into that game, I would have said, and I did say it last episode, Derrick Henry's the best player in football right now. The second best player in football, up to that point in the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes, he took the title. He played outstanding. It just seems like their offense isn't going to be stopped, and it's really just a matter of, is their defense going to be able to slow down somebody's rushing game, which they kind of did. I mean, Derrick Henry played well, but didn't have the 180-yard game that they've been accustomed to.
I believe only had 3 attempts in the second half.
Yeah.
So they kind of got out of what they were doing well, and they were really only
Tannehill
down.
threw the ball a lot more.
Yeah. So I agree with you. They kind of one makes it you have to wonder, did Derrick Henry, did he get tired? Like, we're just so much work the last 4 games. Also, you have to think about, like, the last 4 games were all on the road. Like, travel plays a factor to some degree. I think there was some travel issues, and, like, all these things just weigh on you. And Mahomes has just got this, like, he's just got this air about him. It's like there's no insurmountable lead to him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got so many weapons. Like, I never felt anyone more confident with, like, a 3rd and 2, and Kelsey's going to find a way to wiggle through the zone to catch a ball, fall down.
I've never been more confident in a guy, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 4 on his own side of the field. It could be a 5-yard, hook to Kelsey, or it could be a 70-yard touchdown to somebody. It just seems like anything's
possible.
And it honestly seems like their offense is almost designed that way, where they really are having levels of guys, running routes. It's like he'll take these looks where he'll drop back, and you're going, oh my God, he is gearing up to throw an 80-yard pass, and then in the end, he just a little flip to the flat. It seems like there's levels where it gives him, like, check your big shot first, check your 15-yard out second. You've always got Kelsey. You've always got Watkins as, little safety blankets for, just get the first down.
Williams is a nice little, like, shifty little back. He can catch a pass and make some moves. And also the play that, I got up and like cheered. I know you probably tried to.
Yeah.
Was when he made the run.
Incredible.
The run yesterday was ridiculous. I was so
incredible
fired up.
run, and then also just so many opportunities after getting the first down for him to take the easy way out, to dip out of bounds. Even after he didn't dip out of bounds, to cut back, to get a couple more extra yards, get him on the hash slide. He took it all the way.
You feel like, and Tennessee wasn't able to get to him that often. They were able to pressure him, but the pressure never felt like it consumed Mahomes.
Yeah.
He was able to move around, keep his head, his eyes downfield. Like, he still had confidence. Like, I'm either going to find you or I'm going to throw it away.
And they broke it down at one point yesterday. They pointed out that the way he keeps his eyes downfield, it's always on a defender. This, like, no-look thing he does where instead of, eyeballing a receiver, he's eyeballing defenders and just knowing where his guys are and then having the ability to sort of slide his eyes at the last minute with the throw. Andy, I know, put out a tweet yesterday. It was very much like this is a dirty sports rundown tweet. Like, this is something we're going to talk about on the show. And then he tried to pass it off on us, which I'm not sure why he was doing that. He was going to put all this work into it, and then he's going to try to pass it off on us. But he wanted to talk. He said Mahomes is in a class all his own. The top 5 quarterbacks in the league is like as crazy as it's ever been after that. But I'll say this, Andy and I think or you and Andy, whoever's here next episode, depending on surgical procedures, we'll dive into it a little deeper. But I think not enough can be said to the first point of that is Patrick Mahomes is in a class all his own, and I think we've also been spoiled a bit coming out of a generation where there was these locked in Brady Manning, these are the elite guys. Year in and year out, there was this shifting 5 or 6 quarterback, elite class, and it really seemed to be every couple of Januaries that was the question. Is Eli elite? Is Roethlisberger elite? Is Breeze elite? Is Flacco elite? And I think some of those guys, is Rivers elite? Some of those guys held in to those positions for a minute and dipped out. Some of those guys, kind of put their flag in the ground and stayed. I think a lot of people think Breeze, in the end proved to sort of have an elite career. I mean, what that means for Breeze's sort of championship resume and his legacy, all that for a different time. But I think we always had those big two, and we always had these guys that we were questioning whether or not they were jumping into that tier. No one's jumping into Patrick Mahomes' tier. And it really, I'm not sure if it's a question of if Mahomes was playing like this in the Brady Manning era, would it be Brady Manning, Mahomes, and all these guys circulating around, or if he's just like on a level that we haven't seen before? Because really, this is, I don't even want to say the closest thing. I want to say beyond what early Aaron Rodgers was. Steps into the league, starts dominating, wins an MVP his first year, AFC Championship game, Super Bowl in his first 2 seasons. I mean, there has been certainly some minor personnel changes with the Chiefs over the last couple of years. Not necessarily all in their favor. I mean, losing Kareem Hunt and the shifting they've had to do at running back certainly, I think, is a bit of a downgrade. They've made some strides in the defensive end. I mean, Honey Badger has been a huge pickup for them. But the difference between this Chiefs team that a couple years ago, wow, are the Chiefs for real? They beat Brady week 1, and the Chiefs now is simply just Patrick Mahomes. That's just the difference. He is truly in a class all his own, and I think when we had that, if we have that conversation that it seems like we had all through the 2000s and the early 2010s, he is elite. Who else is elite? Like, if we're gonna go old school and that's kind of the bar we're gonna have, elite quarterbacks, I'm not sure there is another elite quarterback if Mahomes is your standard for elite. When we were talking about Brady and Manning, those are your elite quarterbacks. It seemed like every once in a while somebody would go, yeah, he played on a Brady Manning level for a playoffs. He played it, this year he has been elite. No one is playing on Patrick Mahomes' level at all.
Well, Mahomes is like, I think you're right. I mean, we've done 2 full years of, for a sample size. And I think maybe 2 games. He was hurt a couple games this year. It's the only times he's never scored more than 26 points, in a game. And he needs to. The Titans still scored 24 points yesterday. It wasn't like it was a shutdown game.
Yeah.
He's got to score points. I feel like that's going to be the same thing that's going to have to happen in the Super Bowl, but he's done it. Every game, basically game in and game out, with the exception of that little run in the middle of this year where he was either missing games or he was just kind of coming back from a little nagging injury. I think you almost have to create a new elite tier. This is like a super elite tier.
Right.
Because, Manning to me was elite, good arm, but sort of innovated the game. Changed the way quarterbacks play the game.
Absolutely.
By, changing the plays on the field, getting people into the right looks. I think Brady's a nod to like learning a lot from Manning, and now we're seeing the culmination of a guy who's as physically gifted as anyone was ever seen when it comes to my favorite term in football, arm talent.
Yeah.
But also, he has enough wiggle to move around the pocket or make some plays. It's just really special. It's special to watch, and I think he seems like a awesome guy. I mean, I know State Farm is very disappointed they couldn't get the State Farm Bowl.
Yeah.
But they got half of it. They got the future in, and I agree. There's a lot of second tier. I know I'm going to let that discussion happen between you and Andy because I know you guys will debate where to put the Russell Wilsons and the Aaron Rodgers of the world, even the Deshaun Watsons. And Breeze actually, according to the analytics, had a great year. It just becomes it's just become a thing similar to like Maddox or even Manning before he won a second Super Bowl. Like, not be able to finish it in the playoffs.
Yeah, and also just not having the games that it's almost like you set your own bar, right? Like the thing with certain guys is that they set this bar for themselves and then they exceed it in the playoffs and in the championship games. And whereas Breeze, he has set this gaudy passing game is what Drew Brees is known for. 350, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and then he doesn't do anything like his own standard when it comes to the playoffs. And I think that's the thing with when we talk about those 2000s, those early 2010s, the conversations that people would fucking die on these, arguing the Flaccos and the Elis and the whatever, are these guys elite? And it's because Eli Manning puts up these, and Flacco put up these like meh seasons, sort of middle of the road. Again, you could argue you don't want your quarterback to lead the league in passing. And so there are these guys who are 10th and 12th in the league in passing, but then come playoff time, they go on these Super Bowl runs where they exceed everything they've done in the regular season. And it's like, well, is that clutch, playing up to your competition, all that stuff? And Breeze, the big question mark, like it was with Manning for all those years, is it's these crazy regular season numbers and then very pedestrian playoff numbers. Mahomes is exceeding, in a way, what he's done while setting crazy gaudy regular season numbers. And the reason that I would say, I know Andy got prickly as he does anytime Russell Wilson is mentioned, in any sort of negative light. I feel like Andy's Russell Wilson love at this point needs the Jameis Winston, Jason Light investigate. Like, what is really going on here? But, everybody, when I criticized Russell Wilson for not, in his loss to the Cowboys and in his loss to the Packers, completing a third down pass for first down on a third down conversion. The end of that Chiefs game, it was, what was the final? They scored 34, 35. It was 34.
35-24.
35-24, right. So there was a point in that game where it was, 28-17. And, if everybody could feel 28-17, the Titans had sort of clawed back in this game. It's now a 2-score game. It's a field goal and a touchdown with a 2-point conversion. The Chiefs had 3rd and 6 on their own side of the field, and you're like, okay, let's see what happens. He reels off a 60-yard strike to Watkins. Ball game. Game over. Like, the difference between him scrambling for 7 yards there, sliding and extending it, and going, it's 3rd and 6. I just ended the game. Ball game, Super Bowl. To me, I'm sorry, but that's why I don't want to hear about guys, being compared to the elite quarterbacks in the game when this guy's delivering game winners on 3rd and 6 from his own side of the field versus guys like, well, he was 3 for 8 on third down conversions and 3 times he ran it. It's like, also, Patrick Mahomes ran it in. Like this guy's doing it on multiple levels. And, I tweeted that at Nathan Gibson, who was like, what's the difference if you're getting if you're running it to convert it or if you're throwing it to convert it? It's like with Patrick Mahomes on every third down, you're going, yeah, we want to stop him from getting a first down here. We want to guard the marker. And he's like, please guard the marker. I'm going for the goal line marker. I'm going to end this game. And to me, it's like he's just on a level all his own. And Tannehill played pretty good. Like, he definitely stepped up his game. But just like I said in our preview last week, just doesn't seem like he was ever going to have the ability, if it came to it, to stay in any sort of shootout with Patrick Mahomes. And they ran out of gas. I mean, I think they should have maybe stuck with Derrick Henry a little bit more. His third quarters so far have been insane. Like, seems like he gets stronger late in the game. Like you said, 3 touches in the second half. Didn't seem like that was going to do it, but I also just really never thought they were going to keep up with them. And you and I, in the end, were both right.
Well, what's amazing about that is, you see so many times in the playoff games where there's a little adversity, and you can feel it in the room, even in your TV. Like, imagine the stadium. We're like, we're down 10-0. We cited Baltimore against Tennessee. They get down early. It's like, This has happened twice now to Mahomes. I'm not saying it might not catch up to the Chiefs at some point, but at no point do you feel like they're out of it. Like, it was just never a question of, even though Tennessee was balling the first 2 drives, really. Nice 4th down call by Vrabel. I tweeted that out. Like, good to see that happen. Don't settle here. Good play action. Had like nice play action. Everyone was biting. There was guys in the middle. Nice. The Brown had a nice little run, 40, 50-yarder. Really smart start by Art Smith from the OC for Tennessee. But it's almost like playing Kansas City, you got to put up 35-40.
Yeah.
And that just puts a lot of pressure on your offense.
And I got to say, Steve Spagnuolo, defensive coordinator of the Chiefs, Giants defensive coordinator for a Super Bowl run, something that when I watch the Chiefs really reminds me of what he did with the Giants is, like, there's bend, don't break. There's bend and let them move the ball a little bit. Not that they're letting them, but they're moving the ball, but it's taking some work to do it. Took a lot of creativity. Took a lot, like you said, they were calling the perfect game, and they're getting down, and they're having these extended drives, and they're scoring, and they score a touchdown to start the game. But even the break, even the scoring, the touchdown, you go, if you're just putting up this much of a fight, you're going to have some stops. With forcing third downs, every once in a while you're going to get them to not convert one. And the difference between the Spagnuolo defense now and with the Giants, not that, like, it's not even about what he's doing different on defense. It's that on the other side of the ball, the offense is going to deliver points.
I mean, they were able to overcome so many mental gaffes early in the game. How many times they jump off sides that you're like, are you kidding me, guys? You're off the field. There was also it was a 3rd and 22, and they held for the Chiefs did for pass interference on 3rd and 22, and they got the ball back and were able to score a touchdown there. Like, there's some mental mistakes out there. I'm not saying the Chiefs, I think it's going to be an interesting game. It's that you can see by the spread between the Chiefs and the Niners. It's a close game. When you play a team that is as talented as them, from a scheme standpoint, you can't make mistakes like that. Like, at some point, that's really going to jump out and bite you. It's like Andy Reid fear, I think, is like when teams keep the other side of the ball, the other team on the field.
The other thing about the Patrick Mahomes-led Chief offense that I think it almost neutralizes what Andy Reid is so bad at in terms of the time management and it's like they're and maybe this will end up biting them their ass in the Super Bowl, but again, we're one game away from it. They have neutralized by being able to score with any amount of time on the clock from any position on the field. Andy Reid's walking home with all of his timeouts all the time because he's like, we don't need timeouts. Yeah. When you have to grind down the field, you have to run these screen passes that Andy Reid loves so much that, for so long in Eagles history, it was like this running game and this, like, running game via the screen pass. the addition of Mahomes and the verticalness of this offense has completely neutralized the idea that, like, God, well, we've got to get 80 yards down the field in a minute and 10 seconds, and we've got one timeout. Like, Patrick Mahomes, like, should I just throw it the whole way? Like, it's full Happy Gilmore. Why don't you should just hit it in one shot every time?
I mean, look at it. I'm glad you shifted the conversation towards Andy Reid, because it's nice to look at his career. Obviously, he needs a Super Bowl to become the legend, to reach the legendary levels that we're talking about for great coaches. But he's been a great coach over the years. I mean, he's obviously gifted with his offensive schemes. We look at the quarterbacks he's used to get far into the playoffs, whether it's McNabb or Kevin Cobb, Alex Smith. I mean, it's hard for me to say, like, I can't remember as well as you guys do about how will we frame McNabb's career, knowing what we know now? Like, was he a dink and dunker? Was he? I mean, what was his style like? You may know more than I do, but like, Andy Reid was able to win, but he does have some blind spots. Like the timeouts is a thing.
Yeah.
Just some sort of conservative play calling at the wrong time. You're right. Mahomes does have a chance to sort of erase all of that. But man, Andy Reid, it's not like the Chiefs were bad. Alex Smith got him to the playoffs too. I mean, Andy Reid's a good coach.
Right. And I think and that's the thing. I think Andy Reid's scheme has been able to take these teams really far, and in a way, the McNabbs and the Alex Smiths, while working within his scheme, also had limitations on them that certain quarterbacks don't necessarily have, that played right into what Andy Reid is bad at. Like, you never really felt with Alex Smith like they're one play from scoring a touchdown from any part of the field. Same with McNabb. I mean, I think McNabb had a little bit of arm talent, but he wasn't really like Mr. like dropping dimes in buckets downfield. Like, he had the ability to throw deep, but he wasn't great at it. And he fit really well into Andy Reid's scheme. But it really always felt like, even in that Super Bowl, and certainly at the Alex Smith, playoff games that Andy Reid had with him, I've got these guys who are just going to get these, 10 to 12 to 15-yard chunk plays. And when I have this time management issue, that could really butt heads. Patrick Mahomes just erases that. He goes, I mean, like, literally, what amount of time are you not comfortable with Patrick Mahomes getting down the field with one timeout?
I mean, another thing is
35 seconds?
With Reid, also, he had T.O.
Yeah.
They got to the Super Bowl. But they're running with like Freddie Mitchell. Like, I mean, they didn't have some great guys on the outside to really get them. He's almost built the team he wanted to, including the quarterback, because he has Tyreek, he has Kelsey, he has Mecole Hardman. Everyone loves like one speedster. He's got two.
Yeah.
You got Sammy Watkins, who for maybe he's not like he was like the 4th or 5th pick overall. I think.
Right.
Was known as another speedster. Still a very good wide receiver. They're just loaded. I mean, loaded. The skill set. I mean, McCoy is not even playing, right? Like LaShawn McCoy is like an active, or healthy scratch, I think.
And it's one of those things where Mahomes just makes these guys so much better. It's like, Sammy Watkins was the 4th overall pick or whatever, but like, what has he been until he had Mahomes? Like, what is Hardman on the Buffalo Bills? What is what's Tyreek Hill on some teams where the quarterback doesn't have the ability to go, you can get separation once you get to 30, 40, 50 yards downfield. Like, is Tyreek Hill scoring long touchdowns, every other game with 35, 40-year-old Phillip Rivers?
I mean, it's a great question, because I believe in schemes so much in the NFL being a fit. I mean, this is like just the perfect storm.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about some of these other teams coming up.
And
about
Kelsey.
It's a perfect complement of players with the perfect quarterback and the perfect like offensive-minded coach. Like, it's amazing to watch. Now, we do have to say, as you and I are proponents of like winning on a rookie deal.
Yes.
We do have Mahomes coming up. So this will be very interesting.
So that's something I wanted to talk to you about, because I think that there's a couple of things here. First of all, Patrick Mahomes is the only person right now who deserves
blank check.
The money.
Yep.
And I understand that if you're his agent, State Farm or otherwise.
Terrible agent, by the way.
Yeah, that guy. Hopefully that guy will get that guy will dumb his way into a team friendly deal. But if you're Patrick Mahomes, you're the only with the bar being set for you by Kirk Cousins and Jared Goff and Carson Wentz and Russell Wilson. Again, this guy is in a class all his own. He deserves the $40 million, the $50 million, whatever it commands. But then when you're Patrick Mahomes, do you say I have the ability I am 2 years into what could potentially be the greatest quarterback career ever? Do I take some sort of team-friendly-ish deal to consistently be winning? Because, I mean, if Patrick Mahomes isn't the MVP and isn't winning these games, every single commercial isn't Patrick Mahomes. Like, there's ways to make up this money, correct?
There are. I mean, you should marry Giselle.
Right.
Would be helpful. But, I mean, I think he should tell the Chiefs that they should only play with 43 players. Just give me 10 players' salaries additional, and we're going to run with 43.
Yeah.
That's one way to do it. But
Unfortunately, the last 9 guys on the salary cap, it's like
less than $2 million.
Yeah.
I think we'll never tell people not to get the money. I feel like he should go get the money, and they should just bank on the fact that we'll find more, Kareem Hunt's in the 4th round,
right.
Mecole Hardman's in the first
round. And I guess
take shots.
That's the other side of the coin is, do you just pay Mahomes and you go, he's going to turn every single guy he plays with into, a threat.
What he's going to basically do is get people paid.
Yeah.
He's like Kelsey's going to they'll be able to pay for Kelsey, so he'll go somewhere else. Tyreek, who knows where he goes? But if Kirk Cousins gets $85 million guaranteed, and what is Mahomes' number?
Right.
It's doubled. I mean,
yeah.
He's twice as valuable probably as Kirk Cousins.
I would say he's infinitely more valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the number?
Right.
I don't know what the number is.
Right.
It's like he's underpaid at whatever number he ends up getting, which is very hard for people to say.
But the other thing is, you can kind of, if you look at the Chiefs, even if your approach is, okay, we have Andy Reid and we have Mahomes, and it's going to be Belichick and Brady, and this is the thing for a long time, and 20 years from now or 12 years from now, they're going to be playing in a Super Bowl again together, and the only person that's going to be the same on this team is Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. And everybody else has changed over. We've had to do what we've had to do salary-wise, but he's going to turn all his weapons into stars, or he's going to make them all guys that produce. You have to have some sort of defense. Like, you have to have a decent defense. You have to have a middle-of-the-pack defense. Whereas I feel like, and that, again, we talk about how he compares to every other quarterback in the league. Most quarterbacks are going to need a top-tier defense. That's what gets you there. And he doesn't, but you're gonna need to pay enough guys to be the 12th to 15th best defense in football.
It's funny. I looked up a stat today which said, well, it's not a stat, it's an overall generalization that says teams are more likely to be good. I think you'll probably agree with this if they have a above-average quarterback and a subpar defense than a subpar quarterback and an above-average defense.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, always think offensive first, and we'll figure out on defense.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I mean, and we've said this earlier in the podcast. Like, Mahomes needs to score 30 to win. I mean, that's just the way it is with us. And it's been that for 2 years.
It almost feels like they might have to bail on some guys early. The strategy might be to go, instead of getting these guys paid, right? It's to turn Tyreek Hill into a first rounder. It's to go I'm gonna find me any guy who's on the football team and the track team. I'll turn him into Tyreek Hill, but turn Tyreek Hill into assets, because you're going to be picking at the end of rounds for the next 15 years.
Well, you do that. You look for the spark score, as they say in the draft. But you try to find the athletes, or you try to find guys who are you remember the NBA, the ring chasers.
Yeah.
Tyrann Mathieu, not quite that ilk, but you find guys that are still good. They're maybe a prove it deal.
Yeah.
You just get a bunch of guys a 1-year prove it deal. I think that's probably an avenue they'll have to take. But I mean, the future is so bright. I haven't been this excited about a non-Cowboys player. And it makes you wonder, this first year, The Chiefs had Alex Smith. They do go to the playoffs. They do lose to the Titans.
Yeah.
If you give Mahomes the whole year,
Yeah.
what could have been possible then? They might have been 2-time Super Bowl. They might have won last year.
Yep.
Just because of the experience. I mean, who knows? Crazy to think how bright the Kansas City future is.
Before we move on from this game to the other championship game and then on to how these teams will match up against each other in the Super Bowl, do you follow or have you seen on Twitter or on Instagram people sharing what could be Patrick Mahomes' the only chink in his armor?
I know where this is going.
His girlfriend is a fucking lunatic.
All I saw was maybe it was just a series of cuts of her just like sort of screaming at the phone or whatever the camera.
Just selfie screaming. My girlfriend has followed Patrick Mahomes' girlfriend for a while and has always kind of kept me up. And only yesterday, it seemed like the rest of the internet discovered her yesterday.
Yep.
She's got these pregame. It's her and his little brother. They're on the sideline pregame. They're always kind of selfieing. They're doing this, they're getting their pregame sideline hype. Then they move to the box. There's a lot of screaming. Are we worried at all about the spotlight that is being shown on Patrick Mahomes' girlfriend? It seems like the majority of these guys who are successful, obviously Giselle, very famous. The reports are always makes more money than Tom Brady, but she's still a supermodel. She's not really like making headlines besides the
dropped it thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, can't catch his own passes.
I don't think anybody knows Peyton Manning's wife's name. I know Eli's wife's name because I
follow her on Instagram.
Right. Because I have Eli Manning's family tree on my wall. I know his children's name. But for the majority of these guys, they're usually pretty back. I mean, obviously we have Ciara and Russ, but it seems like as his star grows, she's just getting more boisterous. Are we worried at all about? Or is he just too good? Or he's like, just do whatever you want?
Well, first and foremost, we always wish, at least I can't speak for Joe, but I always wish people to be happy and successful. But having said that, he's 23 years old.
Yeah.
Was he with her? I don't know the details.
I think high school.
They've been together since high school.
I think so.
I want them to work out desperately, but there's a lot
but Russell Wilson wasn't with Ciara in high school.
That's what I'm saying. Tom Brady was with another person.
Yeah. Somebody has a child with another person.
Brett Favre is known to be sending out some photos to some people.
Yeah.
I want to say like
Tom Brady destroyed his phone during Spygate, but claims it wasn't during Deflategate, but it claims he destroyed it having nothing to do with the football deflating.
Correct. I wish them all the best, but yes, it is concerned. But I also have a bigger question to followers out there. Why does one follow? And I could turn this question to your girlfriend. Why does one follow Patrick Mahomes' girlfriend? What's the value in following this person in your mind?
I have no idea. I mean, I could answer for my girlfriend, but I don't know if I can answer for the public. I mean, my girlfriend, she worked in sports. She's met her.
That makes complete sense.
Complete sense. There's a pre-Chiefs Mahomes relationship there. But generally, and that's the thing. I feel like the internet, for the most part, discovered her yesterday.
I 100% discovered her yesterday. 100%. So,
and it's sort of this it was like this screaming Kermit meme,
because I think you go home, like you start to take their lives home in your imagination, and you're like, is this person doing this all the time? Like Mahomes needs to sit and sleep.
Yeah.
Is she waking up being like, another day?
Yeah. Pre-game ritual, yogurt.
So yeah, our imagination starts to run wild. He needs a moment to sort of decompress. Is she going to give that to him?
But the reason I bring it up is because you and I, like we said, we haven't been this excited for somebody in a long time. Just seems like, barring injury, literally the sky's the limit. There's always the Yoko factor, though.
Oh man, don't say that yet. We'll see. We'll find out in 2 weeks. If they lose, I'm going to put the blame on her 100%.
I think her visibility in the next 2 weeks is going to be a big preview too.
It's a really kind of a coming out story for her. She's probably going to get her own little station at the media day.
Yeah.
Is she angling to become the next is it Aisha Curry?
Yes.
Is she the next? Is she trying to be the next Ice
A
Cook?
Food Channel
Are we
show.
doing like is there a book deal happening?
If he loses, is he accusing the NFL of being biased and throwing games and fixing games?
I think we're on to something here. She's probably seen a path to success, and she's now done it. She's well on her way. Congrats to her.
Well, we switch over to the late game. Packers 49ers. The only real story in this game, to lead with is that the 49ers go out to a massive lead. Through 3 quarters, Jimmy Garoppolo throws the ball 6 times. I think he's 4 for 6. They, destroy the Packers in terms of running the football. And I can honestly say I've never seen anything like this before. This deep into the playoffs, you're in the conference championship round, and you're just dominating another team, just running the ball, just straight up running off tackle.
Really impressive win. I will say this. I didn't post yesterday. A lot of the guys that I follow that I think are really, really good at gambling, they all had the over, which did sail over the top. So congrats to those people that were on the over. Look, I thought I've been touting the Packers as paper tigers all year long, and they proved me right. But I did think they should be able to get up for this game, having been humiliated 6 or 7 weeks before. What can we learn? And we realized they learned nothing.
Yeah.
They're just not in the class of talent that the Niners have. Not only from a player personnel, but even from a coaching standpoint.
I agree.
I think Shanahan is everyone was on McVay's jock last year, deservedly so. But Shanahan is also extremely gifted. He was part of the offensive mind that had the Falcons up 28-3 before they lost the Patriots. So he's
and he's what was most impressive about him this year and then specifically yesterday is he is doing something with the Niners offense that he was not showing you in any other offense he's ever worked with. Even prior to this season, it seemed like this year he was like, okay, this is he woke up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat and he was like, ghost motion. Like he just had this. He had this recurring, he had a dream catcher on his wall, and every morning he just wake up saying ghost motion. Like this, he's running guys in this arena league style where wide receivers are going 20 yards back in the backfield pre-snap on angles, and he's exposing then whether or not the defense is running man or zone, and he's taking guys out of where he's going to run the ball. He's like, I'm going to run off tackle here. This guy's guarding my fucking slot guy. I'm going to have my slot guy, running donuts in the backfield, see if that guy follows him, and then run right into the space that he clears out. The running attack also was so simple. There wasn't a lot of creativity in the actual running attack. There's a lot of creativity in the pre-snap. There's a lot of creativity in the few times that they passed off it. But they were pretty much running off tackle, and they were pretty much running at their edges where the Packers have gotten their best defensive play lately from Zadarius Smith, and I'm forgetting the guy's name on the other side, but this is where they're getting their edge rush. It almost seemed like part of the strategy was, if we're ever going to pass the ball, let's work the shit out of these guys on the run so that when they do get a chance to, stand up pass rush, they're fucking tired. And it never came to that point. They never stopped them running the ball. So this, let's wear them down, and then, this rocky move, then we'll switch in the 12th round to your other hand. They never switched because they ran down their fucking throats.
You're right. They did I like some of their schemes, and you're right. They did a lot of pre-snap stuff. I like the way he kind of brings a wide receiver or tight end in motion, and they use them to start him in motion, and then they reverse him back to the other side of the field. Really creative stuff. And I think you saw that clip. There was a clip going around on Twitter you may have seen. I think Warren Sharp had passed it around, where when Mike Pettin was the head coach of the Browns and
Yeah.
Shanahan was like the offensive coordinator there, and they sort of like he said, "What are we gonna do? Run here?" And Shanahan just gets like the coolest
Yeah.
look, like no,
Yeah.
and they throw. And I just wonder if, like, I think part of that's just maybe it's just a familiarity with Pettin's, schemes and
Yeah.
things like that. Just Shanahan's just really smart. Like, and they're doing it with a guy, like you said, Garoppolo doesn't need to throw the ball. There's like a 90-minute real-time gap from one pass to another.
Yeah.
I
There was a tweet that went out like all the things that happened
yeah.
between like there was 11 Super Bowl halftime commercials. There was 4 matches at the U.S. Open had ended,
And that was a
or
fear,
the Australian Open.
a fear that you and I had, which was, if a game is close, are we willing to trust Garoppolo? And for 2 games so far, they just haven't had any reason.
Yeah.
There's been no reason to trust him.
And the flip side of that, and everybody knows that I have been an Aaron Rodgers slurper. We broke down this game, and I said, coaching, you've got to give it to the Niners. Defense, you've got to give it to the Niners. Running game, you've got to give it to the Niners. Quarterback, you've got to give it to Aaron Rodgers. And Jimmy Garoppolo did not throw the ball at all, essentially. It's just crazy to me. They're going to play an NFC Championship game, and your quarterback is going to be doing, like, 8-year-old Pop Warner statistics. Like, we're going to throw the ball 6 times. But because of that, I have to criticize Aaron Rodgers a little bit, especially in the first half, because the one advantage you have, the Niners essentially punted on the quarterback comparison, and Aaron Rodgers didn't widen the gap at all. Like, especially 2 minutes left to go in the first half, down, I forget what it was. I think it was, 20 or something at that point. He's got a chance to drive them down, make it a 13-point game. I believe it was. I might be wrong here. And basically almost immediately throws a pick, and they get another score before the half. That's a legitimate 14-point swing. You're counting on you have to score here before the half, and instead you give the ball right back to them, and they score. Threw an interception. I mean, he threw it, obviously, the second one late. That's not all interceptions are equal, as I always say. That's basically a not an interception. But he throws that interception at the end of the first half, fumbles a couple of times, put it together in the second half. But at the same time, it's like at no point did the Niners ever feel like this game was that the Packers were threatening at all. So you also have to, question the, how important those statistics are in the second half. He just simply and look, again, I know that the Niners defense is incredible, and I know that their pass rush is incredible, but he just simply didn't perform at the level that you need if you're going to say, hey, this guy's one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL.
I have to say something right now. I'm very proud of you for doing this, because back channeling with me is one Andy Ruther, who wanted to make sure that I brought up this Aaron Rodgers performance. So I don't have to do that very much, because I felt like he's regressed a lot this year, and I'm going to take 2 minutes eventually to just give you some numbers on why I think he's regressed. But just to bring some attention to last week, you were a tough on Russell Wilson in his ability to beat the Packers. And I just want to bring up some numbers as to what the comparison between Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson in that game, and just see why your thoughts on, again, why Russell Wilson is not. Russell Wilson was equally, whatever say, like not as good as Aaron Rodgers. Wasn't very good. Right? Like both had 15 passing first downs, 8 rushing first downs. This is Russell Wilson. 375 yards, 265 passing. Inability to convert on third down. Very similar. Russell Wilson, this is Aaron Rodgers, 16 passing first downs. Threw for 358, 296. Did have 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles. Sacked 3 times for 30 yards. I like hearing that you're tough on Aaron Rodgers, but like the comparison seems similar to me. Thoughts on like
So here's the, and by the way, no one is head and shoulders above one another here. Obviously, first of all, the Russell Wilson was playing the Packers, who you have called paper tigers the whole year.
Correct.
Their defense has been better.
Correct.
Their running games have been better. They made it to the conference championship game. They were the 2 overall seed. They did what they did. Aaron Rodgers was playing the Niners. The competition level is important. Now, I know Russell Wilson has had decent games against the Niners this year. But again, the division, Pete Carroll, Shanahan, like there's some aspect of all that you have to factor in, especially the difference between regular season and the playoffs. Because I think Shanahan, and we'll go back to Shanahan's coaching, is I think the most impressive thing about Shanahan in this game was I have no idea what he's going to do in the Super Bowl because he didn't have to show fucking anything.
Yeah, you're right.
I have no idea what his officer is. Now, how that would have been different if he wasn't playing the Packers, if he was playing the Seahawks, whatever. So one thing is the difference in competition. I 100% agree that both Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers need to be, skewered a little bit for essentially being out of the game at halftime. The games were over. 21-3, 27-0, whatever it was at the half. Like, the idea that you can't – because there was a point late in this game where it became a 2-score game. And never did I feel like the 49ers were going to lose the game. But the reason is because Aaron Rodgers did nothing in the first half. He did nothing. If you get that one touchdown and don't throw that interception, this is a completely different ballgame. That was the 14-point swing we're talking about. The one thing I'll give Aaron Rodgers credit for was the Niners pass rush is significantly better than the Packers pass rush. He was getting pressured a lot in the first half, and in a very Russell Wilson manner was going backwards a lot. Backpedaling, turning his back, trying to escape. In the second half, I'm not sure. I mean, I know he got stripped at one point, and maybe the Niners dove on it again or whatever, or the Packers dove on it again. I forget what happened in the second half, but he was sacked twice in the game. To me, what I needed from Aaron Rodgers to show me that he was the only other person in Mahomes' class was to get sacked twice in this game and be effective. He didn't get sacked 6 times, because he seemed to sort of figure it out, step up, get rid of the ball quickly, but it was too little too late. And again, is that because the Niners dialed it back in the second half and they knew the game was over? To me, the big sort of fail stamp on Aaron Rodgers is his first half performance and specifically the end of the first half. You had a chance to at least go into the locker room with some momentum, and who knows what the second half is if you play the same game in the second half and you don't give them 7 points instead of getting 7 on your own. And it just seems like that magic is gone. Just seems like that would be, the regression in Aaron Rodgers. I know you have a file on it. I think that there's part of the quarterback talk, which is you don't want your quarterback doing all this stuff. You don't want him leading the league in passing, and you don't want him whatever. And we're just like, take Patrick Mahomes and put him in his own fucking world.
We all agree on that.
But so the dialing back of Aaron Rodgers in the whole team is on your shoulders, especially with a brand new coach who's calling the plays. They always say it takes a half a season, all that stuff. He didn't have the magic. The end of the first half, I need that one Rodgers throw, that one Rodgers escape that goes, hey, I know you thought it was over, but we're around.
Plus, they scored the first drive of the third quarter. So
Yeah.
now it's 2014.
Yeah.
If you just find a way to get points, 2010 even.
Yeah, exactly.
Find a way
Just
to get points.
Just find a way to not give them points,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. 20-7 is not, insurmountable.
Yeah.
But I mean, we talked about how it doesn't change his legacy, but I just want to go into some couple notes about why I think, and like, no one's going to take away the 2009 to 2014 era Aaron Rodgers, like world class, elite. And Aaron Rodgers said yesterday, like, I'll never forget this year because football became fun again. To me, that implies McCarthy. I think this could give some optimism to Cowboys fans, including myself, because it says, hey, McCarthy isn't that bad. It's just the relationship between McCarthy and Rodgers really soured. So I pulled up a couple stats on why I've been saying the paper tigers all year long, but and some of these are things that I know you don't believe in as well, because Rodgers, when under pressure during the regular season and playoffs, held onto the ball for an average of 3.8 seconds. That's the longest in the NFL. I know that you and I both don't like to see that.
Yes.
His QBR this year with LaFleur was 50.8. Mariota's QBR last year with LaFleur in Tennessee was 53.2. Do we think LaFleur is the game changer? We don't know, but they're lucky to win a lot of games this year, and I don't know if LaFleur is necessarily the answer, but I think McCarthy is not bad. Like the QBR with play action last year was 49.9. That's 31st in the league. QBR this year with play action was 49.6. That's 26th for the league. Aaron Rodgers finished this year 17th in yards per attempt, 20th overall in QBR. His average for positive points per play above replacement was 13th. It's just a lot of signs are pointing to the regression, and we're saying that it's okay because he's 5 years old. But we have to start paying attention to the fact that someone Stenga asked me last night, is the window closed? I think it's closed because he's going to make $22 million eventually. But there is a chance for the late Favre run.
Right.
But it just gets harder. And you can blame it on the player. We need Devontae was hurt for a portion of the year, but there's a stat saying that because people respect Aaron Rodgers so much, they actually have more separation than any other wide receivers in the league because people respect Aaron Rodgers so much.
Yeah.
And also the last thing I'll say is they have the best line for pass protection. So again, Aaron Rodgers is probably the last guy that I cared as much about Mahomes.
Yeah.
But we have to start thinking about is the door closed?
Well, here's the question I have on Aaron Rodgers and regression, because when I look at Aaron Rodgers, there's not a lot of me that says the regression is in physically he can't do it anymore. He seems to still make the throws. He still seems to be, almost as athletic, as elusive as he's sort of been throughout his career. Maybe not quite as elusive as his younger days, but he's certainly not a statue in the pocket. When I look at Aaron Rodgers, I think the souring of the Mike McCarthy thing, and then now having a rookie head coach, not just a rookie with the Packers, not just a rookie this is the first time the guy's been a head coach, is how much of it is the Aaron Rodgers ego, where Aaron Rodgers was the king of the world for so long, believed that whatever he feels is correct in every situation is the right play. What I hated about his first half yesterday is that he looked like Russell Wilson. When pressure came, he started trying to make things happen where I feel like you have to trust your offense a little bit more. I don't care that you're a however many time MVP and this is your coach's first playoff game ever. You need to trust that, make your reads and deliver a strike. Just like you said, the 3-point, I don't want my quarterback holding the ball. And it just seems like the Aaron Rodgers of, I can make something happen here. I want that Aaron Rodgers to come out in desperate times and go, he's always got that in him. And that's the thing about Russell Wilson that you have to love if you're a Seahawks fan. He always has that play in him. But on a season-long basis, you shouldn't use that play every time you're pressured. That is not the answer for success. The answer for success, make your reads, deliver a strike, or throw the fucking ball out of bounds and live to fight another day. And then when necessary, spin backwards, backpedal, throw a ball off your back foot. The idea that he's throwing a ball off his back foot at the end of the first half when they're down 20 points and they just need points, and it costs them, in my opinion, the game, it's a little bit too much ego for me.
I don't disagree with that. I think it's a really good point. And I will say this, just as just an aesthetic side, and I know you'll agree with this as a man who cares about the way you put yourself together. He's not the GOAT to me because he did not shave well, and he did not trim his neck.
His neck beard.
The neck
and
beard
the back.
is unacceptable.
On the back.
I'm going to go in a diatribe about this because
I saw it yesterday, and I thought the exact same
I work
thing.
in entertainment, and when I go in as an actor, they sometimes shoot what's called an over-the-shoulder shot. They take a camera, and they use your neck and shoulder to show that someone else is in the space. Look for this, guys, as you're watching movies. Over the shoulder, and I'm always like, can you clean my neck, please?
Yeah.
He did not. There's something about him. The GOAT, Tom Brady, who may or may not be the GOAT, is going to walk in looking fresh. Aaron Rodgers had an unkept beard, and his neck beard looked terrible. And I was like, this guy is just not ready to play. I should have known from the beginning. I should have said Niners by 1 million because the neck.
I mean, honestly, pre-game, I got scared off the Packers simply because I'm like, I get playoff beards, but like whenever he goes with the Joe Praino mustache, it's like a sensation. It sets the internet on fire. So the fact that like I was like, okay, he didn't pull it out for the playoffs. Does he pull it out if they make the Super Bowl? But then I agree 100%. I saw how did he not have somebody clean up the back of his neck?
It's one of the biggest moments of your career. A chance to go back to the Super Bowl, and you didn't say, "Hey, clean me up." I'm glad. I knew that you would get this. Of all
Write
people.
this down. This is our title. Aaron Rodgers' unkept neck kept them from the Super Bowl. So,
but I to get back to the ego point, I
Yeah.
agree with you. I think there's a certain point, and I was reading some articles about why people are trying to deduce why the sort of the accuracy is dipping on Aaron Rodgers. And one, I think it's ego. Two, Colin Cowherd brings this up, which is like he wants to protect his QB to TD to interception ratio down, which I don't want to get on Cowherd's side, but like people are seeing opportunities.
If you're the GOAT,
I know.
how are you?
I know.
You're worried about TD and interception
But
ratio.
there are balls when you look at the all 22. Like there are opportunities
come
to throw the ball to people that he doesn't pull a trigger on, and people get on Dak for missing easy throws. I mean, Aaron Rodgers missed some easy throws yesterday, like at the feet of people, and you just wonder, like, and this is a fear I have for Mahomes down the line when you're so talented with your arm, and you still think you can sling it. And you let go of the fundamentals just a little bit. Yeah, I think this becomes an issue.
And I think I've been critical of Tom Brady, Sis Tom, is he system? But and I always say this when Patriots fans pop their white heads going fucking crazy because you call Tom Brady a system quarterback. It's a compliment. It's the ultimate compliment. You've never once in his career really seen Tom Brady not play within the system. Never with, injuries, never with he doesn't have a defense, never with he doesn't have a weapons, guys retiring. He trusts that the scheme that Belichick has come up with is the one that has the best chance for success. So all of his accolades, all of his legacy, all of his championships, you never see Tom Brady go, well, I'm going to spin reverse. I'm going to throw off my back foot and just give Gronk a chance. It's never I can honestly say this is like the first 12 years of Dwight Howard's career. I was like, show me video of him taking a jump shot. Show me video of Tom Brady with a fuck it play. I literally can't remember one that wasn't, the end of a half or the end of a game or a fucking, Hail Mary situation. And that to me was, I know Andy wants me to answer for some sort of Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers comparison. And I'm not doing this as a way to like checkmate him. But what I hated about Aaron Rodgers' first half, where I thought the Packers lost the game, he reminded me of Russell Wilson. He reminded me of a guy who was like, go backwards, fucking chuck it, blame the offense, blame that we couldn't run the ball on first and second down.
Yeah, their games do remind me of one another, and I think because you saw that with the big third down play with Aaron Rodgers to Devontae, or fourth down play last week with that nice toss. You saw a similar play with Russell Wilson to DK Metcalf with the Eagles. I mean, I personally lean towards closer to Andy, where I think Russell Wilson is closer to the Aaron Rodgers 2014 window, where I think he is great. I'd like to see him, Russell Wilson, with a team, with a coach, and a scheme that puts him first and foremost instead of like just sort of conservative run plays. The Seahawks also don't run. They want to be run first, but they don't run with a sort of style that the Niners do, like the creativity, pre-snap and things like that. So I personally lean towards closer to where Andy lies. But obviously we all agree Mahomes is in his own tier. And the last stat I want to give to you, Aaron Rodgers. If NFL research is saying the Niners is the number one pass defense according to yards gained, when Rodgers faced before yesterday, when Rodgers goes against the number one pass defense, including playoffs, he's 1-4, 0-4 on the road, 4 TDs, 4 picks, and a 72.2 passer rating. So, again, Aaron Rodgers was probably like my guy before Mahomes.
Right.
But I think that, and this is the question that so many NFL teams have to start thinking about. It's like, yes, you can still win with Aaron Rodgers, but a plan has to start being put in place for like 3 years from now. Do we have something?
Right.
Do we have,
Well, let me ask you this thing before we move on from sort of Aaron Rodgers and the Packers window. I know it's next year he's still on a team-friendly deal.
That's correct.
And then the year after is like semi-team, like it's not team-friendly. It's like $15 million or something like that.
Pretty big, yeah.
But it's not 35.
No, it's not. I think it's 22.
And then I think it's 22 maybe the year after, right? Or something like that. Anyway, point being, whether it be next year, the year after, or I know 3 seasons from now it gets really bad where it's completely back end. But do you have any hope in the Packers window that year 2 with LaFleur, it gets a little bit more creative? I guess the question of Aaron Rodgers' ego is, with a year under the belt, an offseason under the belt, is it possible for LaFleur to show a little regression in Aaron Rodgers' ego? Be like, hey, man, come back down to earth. You're not MVP Rodgers anymore. I need you to stay a little bit more within the system. I need you to trust me. And then, obviously, LaFleur, pretty successful year 1 on a wins-loss.
Very successful.
You get to the NFC Championship game in your first year. You turn the team around. Any opportunity for LaFleur to progress as a head coach in year 2, and for Aaron Rodgers' ego to come back down to earth a little bit, and for those guys to meet in the middle and have a short, whether it be 1 or 2 year window where, before the shift goes the other way?
I personally don't see it. And here's a couple reasons why. We talked about this. 2020, the cap hit is $21 million for Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
21 is 36.
Right.
22 is 39. 23 is 28. It's a lot. So I see that being an issue, obviously. The LaFleur thing, I think we saw with Mariota, he had a better, QBR last year. And also, you're asking 2 big questions. Aaron Rodgers, look, we all watch, like 5 of us watch The Bachelor, Bachelorette, you and I included. His brother was a winner.
I was not a viewer during those
days.
His
brother was a winner of The Bachelorette or whatever. Yeah. And there's a big, my point is, they have issues within the family.
Right.
Like, if I saw that, where he's like, I'm willing to resolve whatever problems I have, then I'd be like, anything's possible.
Right.
But right now, I feel like Aaron's made it so far being this strong-minded. I just don't see him I just don't see him backing down or listening to a peer.
I tend to agree with you just because, when in history has it happened? You look at, usually somebody has to bottom out for it to happen. Dwight Howard has to come to the Lakers, and they go, look, we'll cut you if you don't just fucking rebound and play defense. And he's like, you know what? 12 other teams have told me this. I didn't listen to them. I did end up getting cut. I'll do it for you. But, Aaron Rodgers hasn't really bottomed out. And unfortunately, I think for the Packers, the lack of them bottoming out is, he really felt like, oh, it was McCarthy. I just need not McCarthy. I really feel like it's an Aaron Rodgers ego problem.
I mean,
with the
he won on
Packers.
Jeopardy. Like he won on Celebrity Jeopardy.
Yeah.
He he dates celebrities. He's getting to the conference finals. The biggest thing that happened to Aaron Rodgers from a deficit standpoint was he didn't get drafted number 1. He got bypassed by his favorite team, and he had to sit for a couple years behind Brett Favre. You would hope that he'd be able to like draw on that, like similar to how Jordan would like fake create some problems.
Yeah.
But Brady has literally, you can say whatever you want about Brady being a system quarterback. He's been able to do that for his entire career.
Yeah.
Like, I was drafted 199. I know every quarterback drafted ahead of me. People don't believe me. People think Belichick's the guy. Like, that will drive him until he retires.
Right.
So Aaron Rodgers needs to find something, but there's really never been anything to make that. Like you said, there's no the bottoming out is a good point. I just don't see where he's like, look within myself and say, you know what? I'm part of the problem. Like, we got to go more Aaron Jones. I don't know what it is. Like, you can say we need, we need better guys at wide receiver, but Devontae Adams is elite. Jimmy Graham, according to some stats, has the most separation. Has some hands issues throughout the year, but like
I almost feel like besides family counseling, Aaron Rodgers' best chance is like an injury that keeps him from thinking he can do too much. Like,
but didn't he have that for a while? Didn't he have that 1 year? He was out for a bunch of games. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, I think the window is
closed.
I think the window's closed. But like, look, they made it to the conference.
The only reason I don't think the window is closed is because who is playing in the NFC Championship game next year? Okay, let's pencil the Niners back in again. Like, I don't think is anybody alive comfortable saying like the Eagles will be there,
No.
the Cowboys will be there, the Seahawks will be there. Who we
It's a very good
who
point.
are we talking about in
It's
the
a
NFC?
very good point.
And obviously, when you get to the NFC Championship game, you're one game away. Who are we talking? I mean, not that I'm saying the Packers will be back there. I certainly wouldn't have a ton of confidence putting it on them either. But like,
It's a very good
is
point.
Daniel Jones next man up?
I mean, there are some rumors swirling around today from Jason Lockenfora, hearing a lot of buzz about Tampa as a possible landing spot for Phillip Rivers.
He moved permanently out of San Diego.
Yep.
By the way, I would love that solely because
Jameis got to go somewhere else.
Jameis.
I mean, we talked about this earlier, but the quarterback carousel is so interesting. And to put a button on the Packers, the one mainstay in the NFC is Aaron Rodgers. So yeah, they'll be good. But my other feeling is they're not 13. They weren't 13-3 good this year.
Right.
They got some lucky wins. They never had a defining win. They won ugly throughout the almost entire year. I said this on Twitter. They were outgained in yards for the year, and that is probably the number one most true indicator of how good your team is. Outgained and outpointed. So there's some work to be done, but you're right. I mean, whenever the NFC has like the carousel, if the Niners were to lose, there's the Super Bowl losing curse. Like, you don't come back to the playoffs next year. It could be the Rams again. Who knows?
I have more faith in Matt LaFleur taking a leap as a coach and Aaron Rodgers, having some sort of office space hypnosis done where he comes back as a hungry rookie than I do Kirk Cousins putting it together for 4 straight playoff games.
I'm glad you brought Kirk Cousins up. The Vikings need to find out what's going on. The Vikings should be there. The Vikings are a good team. They have skill players. They have, the quarterback is whatever the quarterback. They need to figure out if the quarterback's the quarterback or not, because they also got there with Case Keenum. They should be.
Well,
in the mix.
let me ask you a question right now, because we and Andy I forced him into doing it. I said, save it. We'll do it when you get back. But like, well, right. I'm gonna ask you. It's two-parter. Who wins the NFC North next year?
Chicago Bears.
Who wins the NFC North next year if Matthew Stafford is the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings?
The Minnesota Vikings. So Andy asked me my top 5 quarterbacks. I put Stafford at 5 or 6. I think Stafford is extremely underappreciated.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. I couldn't agree. We both agree. So at the end of that conversation, Stafford should be playing on a better team. Let's move him. Let's put him in the carousel.
Yeah, free Matthew Stafford.
Matt Patricia is not getting it done for you. This is another thing I have about keeping teams or coaches around. Like, what is if they show you 1 year they're not going to do it? Get them out of here. Let's just move them around. Eat some money. So what? Like you only have so many years with a generational quarterback. When are you going to find another Matt Stafford lying on the street?
Yeah. And honestly, as a Giants fan, that's something that has never been, the Mara family signature move is to just like give up on a guy. And I couldn't be happier that they were like, hey, Shermer ain't it. And like, is fucking Judge Joe Brown it? I don't know. But like, I like that they go, Shermer ain't it.
I liked it too.
Get the fuck out of here.
I liked it too. And the Bears thing is like it's a weird call. The reason I think the Bears could be good is because they were bad this year, but they were still 8-8.
Right.
It wasn't like it was like a lost. They weren't even very good. And Trubisky, who knows? Maybe they make a move off of him. I don't know. But to be like sort of an afterthought and still be 8-8, to me feels like they've got a chance to do something. I'd like to see the Vikings make some moves. The Giants, the Packers will probably fall back to that 9-7, 10-6. But it's the 7th year in a row that a team with a bye has gone to the Super Bowl. So. That really shows you, like, the wild card's not enough.
Right.
Not enough right now.
Okay. Well,
are you happy? That was a deep dive.
Yeah, it's a deep dive.
Are you guys not entertained?
We're an hour and 14 minutes in. We haven't even talked about the Super Bowl. I mean, we obviously have 2 weeks to talk about the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we'll slow play that.
Let's do 5 to 10 minutes on the super early preview, the opening line. And just like your gut reaction to these two teams facing each other. The opening line, I believe, unless it's moved, was Chiefs -1.5. Correct?
That's correct. -1.5. Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting stat. There's always a bet out there that you can play throughout the year, which is NFC versus AFC, and AFC was pick'em. AFC was picked this year. So if you want to get ahead of it, you would say, you think the Chiefs have a better shot against both those teams. It was wise to get ahead of it. I think I'm really excited. You and I talked about it. It's our number one choice for the Super Bowl. We got it. We got 2 great teams, 2 great schemes. It's in Miami. Miami used to be like an awesome place for a Super Bowl, but I think it rained the last 1 or 2 times it's been there.
Yep.
So we'll see if weather plays a role. We got J-Lo going out. So many prop bets for us. Always take the under.
We always do a prop bet extravaganza.
It's my favorite podcast episode of the year for you guys. But I'm intrigued. I mean, I really don't know which way this is going to go.
Do you think the majority of the money will be on the Chiefs?
I do. I heard some experts say that they think that line might get to Chiefs -3.
It makes me want to pick the Niners immediately. Like, it makes me want to be on the Niners. Patrick Mahomes, like, we're going to keep it short. We have 2 weeks to break this down. But coaching, who are you giving the advantage to?
Honestly, I would say it's pretty even. But I got to say, in game, you have to give it to Shanahan just because Reid has not shown us the ability to do these sort of late game closeout stuff. So it's very close.
Now, it is technically not a bye, but it's like Andy's got 2 weeks to prepare.
That's a good point.
0-1 in Super Bowls.
That's correct. But in his defense, had to go against the best to do it.
Pretty close. I'm with you. Pretty close. I think I'm leaning Shanahan. Quarterback, no-brainer. Yeah. Running game, no-brainer. Defense, no-brainer. It's a pretty even split.
I agree.
It's you've got running game and defense to the Niners. You've got quarterback and a landslide to the Chiefs, and you've got basically a pick-em at the coaching. I would imagine that's why Vegas has got it at 1.5. It's actually kind of 1.5. 1.5 is a remarkable place to start. It almost seems like they started it there knowing it would go to 3.
I think you're right. Sometimes I've watched some lines flip through 0, and I always play those games. Famously, the Seattle Seahawks were favored against the Broncos, and that flipped, and that ended up being a blowout. Same thing happened when the Broncos played the Panthers. Broncos were a favorite. Everyone jumped on Cam after that blowout game against the Cardinals, and then the
Do you,
Broncos end up
do
winning.
you see any potential for a blowout on either side?
Of course, I do. I mean, people that are younger than us have seen like a run of good Super Bowls. You and I were growing up,
Yeah.
blowout city.
Yeah.
I mean, for years the games were terrible. So
50-point games.
55-14, like
Yeah.
40. I mean, Doug Williams throwing multiple touchdowns in the second quarter, like just so. Yes, I do think there's potential for a blowout,
I mean,
especially with
if you look at the mid '80s, we had a couple of games in a row where we had Montana driving down against the Bengals. We had the Giants, Scott Norwood missed.
Bills, yeah.
Yeah. Prior to that, there was a couple blowouts, and then we had 4 Cowboys games that were essentially
three that were blowouts.
Yeah, or sorry, 4 Bills games. 3 of them were blowouts.
You had Marino
got blown out by the
Marino.
Redskins.
Marino
They
got
got blown out.
destroyed.
Yep.
The Bears destroyed the Patriots.
Yep.
The Giants destroyed the
Broncos.
Broncos.
Yep.
The Redskins ended up destroying the Broncos.
Yep.
I mean, the Bengals, like you said, was a close one.
Yep.
I mean,
But then you had
Steve Young blew out the Chargers.
You had those 4 Bills games in a row. The only one that was a game was the Giants game.
Yep.
Then you had the Niners. Yeah, we had a long run there for a while where we didn't have good football games.
Absolutely. And also, we've seen it with Mahomes. Mahomes has made these games fun because they've been a deficit. But, he also scored the final score ended up being 51-31 against the Texans and 35-24 against the Chiefs. So there's also a potential to run away with it. And we come to that situation again where, let's say the Chiefs get ahead. Do we think Garoppolo has the chance to kind of put them back in that situation?
It seems like the Chiefs aren't going to get ahead. This doesn't seem like that's their thing. And if there's anything you can sort of count on Shanahan, it's like those scripted 15. He's the first coach where I watch their offense, and I've said this for years. It's like Seinfeld's joke. Why don't you make the whole plane out of the black box? Why don't you script the whole game? Is there some sort of scientific thing that quarterbacks and offenses 15 is the magic number that they are able to memorize with 2 weeks to prepare? Can we script the first 30?
Yeah.
But Shanahan's the first offense where it seems like in a way it's all very scripted. This is like we said, this was our Super Bowl hope.
Who feels younger to you, Sean McVay or Shanahan?
Shanahan.
Doesn't he?
Not.
It's the flat bill thing. It's sort of like I'm just like this.
I have some info on that. Have some intel on that hat too. That hat's a one of a kind. He designed his own Niners. You can't. Maybe you can now, but it was not sideline gear. My friend with the Giants was like, I love Shanahan's hat. Can I get a Giants hat that's just a small patch with the Giants logo on it? They're like, this is a Shanahan thing. So and he rides it.
He rides it so
he was
hard.
Like, I know what I want my hat to look like. Give it to me, and I'll wear it forever.
Probably has 100 of them just sitting around. But the hat that I know that you want desperately is the Rob Lowe NFL hat.
You know it.
When you want to root for both sides and you always come out a winner, grab the Rob Lowe NFL hat.
Well, I'm interested to see is it where the Super Bowl is on Fox?
That's correct.
So Rob Lowe with 911 Lone Star will be there. I'm interested to see if Rob Lowe goes out on a limb and wears a conference hat for the Super Bowl.
It's going to be a giant football.
Yeah.
Stitched onto his hat.
Just the blue N. He's like, I'm not supporting the Niners, but I am here for the NFC.
It's unbelievable. Rob Lowe is, he was a big, he was like the leaker of the Colts stuff for a while. So.
Yeah. Now, we do have some more football news to get into before we do some brief basketball to get out of here. But before we talk about Jason Garrett named offensive coordinator of the New York Giants, before we do that, nothing makes me want to do the ad read for this company like the idea that Jason Garrett, named offensive coordinator for the Giants, is on deck. We have a new sponsor here on the Dirty Sports Podcast. Feels is a mail-to-your-house premium CBD company. Feels is premium CBD delivered directly to your doorstep. Feels naturally helps you reduce stress, which could be caused by your offense coordinator being Jason Garrett, anxiety, which could be caused by the same thing, pain, which could be caused by that, and sleeplessness. All of these things are the reasons that I have been taking Feels. That combined with my severe knee injury. We got some feels here at the Dirty Sports when they signed on as a sponsor, and I've been taking it regularly, again, for my chronic knee pain and because Jason Garrett is the new offense coordinator of the New York Giants. New to CBD, Feels offers a free CBD hotline and text message support to help guide your personal experience. Feels works naturally to help you feel better. There's no high, hangover, or addiction. Join the Feels community to get Feels delivered to your door every month. You'll save money on every order, and you can pause or cancel at any time. Feels has me feeling my best every day, and it can help you too. Become a member today by going to feels.com/dirtysports, and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's FEALS.com/dirtysports to become a member and get 50% off automatically, taking off your first order with free shipping. Feels.com/dirtysports. Guys, if you're a listener of the Dirty Sports podcast, I'm sure, I have a feeling you know what CBD is and how it breaks down. A lot of people, there's a lot of sort of misinformation out there about CBD, but Feels, we're excited to have them because they have a hotline you can call, get all the real information. Navigating the world of CBD can be complicated. At Feels, we look to make the process as simple as possible so you can start feeling better sooner. Tug, I'm not going to lie. I took Feels pre-show. We're an hour and 24 minutes in. My knee has not been a problem. The anxiety and the sleeplessness of Jason Garrett being the Giants offense coordinator has not hit me until right now that it comes up. I think I need a couple more drops under my tongue of Feels before we get into this story.
We all thought about you immediately when this happened. I became very excited to talk to you about it. And we can commiserate. We might want to drop Feels together.
Yeah.
This is dramatic.
Dropping Feels.
Exactly.
I'm all up in my Feels.
Exactly.
So I don't think anybody is surprised to hear not excited about the hire. I think it is I don't want to say it's a terrible hire, but I just think it's a very uninspired hire. I know Jason Garrett has many friends in the Giant organization, beloved by the Giant organization. The thing that bothers me, and look, I think my anger level on a scale from 1 to 10 would have been 40 if he had been hired as the New York Giants head coach. My anger level on a scale from 1 to 10 that he's hired as offense coordinator, somewhere at like a 6 or a 7. Simply because I think Jason Garrett and his personality, there's only so much damage he can do here as opposed to if he was the head coach. But my biggest problem with this hire is Jason Garrett wasn't calling the plays for the Cowboys.
Hasn't called plays since 2011.
At no point has Jason Garrett been talked about ever in his career as some sort of offensive, mastermind, genius, been on the cutting edge. Really, until this year, in the entirety of Jason Garrett's Cowboys coaching career, the Cowboys haven't really stood out as an exceptional offense. And even that, Kellen Moore was retained as the Giants or as the Dallas offensive coordinator, and Jason Garrett was let go. I just don't see him as the league moves in directions where it just, the innovation. Two teams that are very innovative offensively are about to play in the Super Bowl next week. Just seems really like a poor decision to have the most pedestrian, boring guy is in charge of your offense.
I agree. I mean, look, as a Cowboys fan, it was more than time for Garrett to be gone. It's similar to how I feel like I don't know what you're doing. Like, what if you're quality controlling as the coach? I feel like that was no longer successful. You're right that he doesn't call plays. He doesn't call plays since 2011. And one move that people want to do is this sort of like sidestep move. Was like, let's bring in a young guy, but let's bring in a stabilizing veteran presence to kind of show people the ropes. This is such a Gettleman Gettleman sort of like is kind of seen, Dave Gettleman, the GM for the Giants, is sort of seen as like one of the last bastions of like old school football.
Hard ass.
Not going full-fledged into analytics
very
and things
difficult
like
to
that.
deal with.
Yeah, my way or the highway kind of thing. So it makes total sense to me that he brings in Jason Garrett because it's belief like we're going to go with this young upstart Joe Judge, and he's a special teams guy.
And we're going to put these sort of senior
the
figures
veterans
around,
like build him a cabinet, so to speak, and have him like it just doesn't really work. I think you just got to go balls out. Like this is kind of why I thought like
with
even
Saquon
Gettleman
Barkley, with Daniel Jones, where you have again, not that I love a quarterback that's going to be all running around like crazy, but like he at least has that mobility. That's part of his game that you can use for the next couple of years. Saquon Barkley, I mean, they're talking about the report was Witten is coming with him. Why are we like downshifting our offense into some sort of prehistoric? Let's run off tackle and throw 5-yard outs to Jason Witten. For what? You have Saquon Barkley.
I mean, I think
that should be the focus of your offense.
Well, this is a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense because these guys are coming. The rookie deal, as soon as they come on, the clock starts ticking. Now you're ticking times 2 because you have Daniel Jones, the first-round pick, and Saquon. You're gonna have to pay one of them, probably both of them, and then like you bring in a new coach. But I mean, I feel like you should have cleaned house. They did a nice job by getting rid of Shermer when he was supposed to, but they should have gotten rid of Gettleman too, and said like, let's just go revamp. Let's just go full-fledged, state-of-the-art, young. But they didn't do that. So like, I'm interested to see. How much say is Joe Judge going to get when he has like the old guard up above him,
right?
And also offensive coordinator guy, sort of like being like the check and balance for whatever innovative prospects that Joe Judge wants to bring. So,
I'm not like by the way, again, let me state once again, I hate it. I hate it. But I'm not like, oh, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. I feel like it's just so fucking safe in a way, like on paper it's safe, but like also it's going to mean that their offense is like not brilliant and not horrific. At the same time, it's like I almost want somebody that was going to come in and say like, hi, I'm the Saquon Barkley whisperer. I am here to turn Saquon Barkley into Marshall Faulk. He's going to be in the passing game. He's going to be in the running game. This whole offense is going to be built around our one special player that is better than anybody else at his position, and that's what we're going to do here. The whole Chiefs offense is like, wow, we have this guy now who can throw the ball from any angle as far as we want. We're going to build an offense with speed. Like, I want a guy, like, it just seems like Jason Garrett has none of that in him.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, maybe they see the fact that like Zeke was so productive. Maybe there's some ties to that. But there's a guy, Todd Monk.
We don't have the Dallas Cowboys offensive line.
No. But you're gonna have another high draft pick. Maybe get a lineman in there. Todd Monken is a name that he went back to be the offensive coordinator for Georgia, but he did really well for Tampa Bay 2 years ago. Came over to be the offensive coordinator for Kitchens in Cleveland, and Kitchens would never turn the keys over to him. So this is a name for all of us to kind of just circle years from now. Todd Monken. He's going to go to Georgia, probably maybe this is what he's thinking. I'm going to be a stud offensive coordinator in prominent college offense, and then they'll come snag me.
Yeah,
I'll become the coach. I'll become like the Matt Rule or whatever for Baylor. But I agree. I mean, the one thing I can guarantee you is going to happen. I can guarantee you 2 things. He's going to really bring that Princeton alumni base up to East Rutherford, coming every Sunday to watch those games.
Yeah, those Princeton guys that love football.
And number 2, they're going to beat the Cowboys probably once or twice next year.
Is Tommy Dewey jumping on board?
He's 100%.
Is he a Giants fan?
Tommy Dewey is now
been out of the pro football realm.
That's right. He was Alabama only, but now he saw one of his alums. The bat signal was the giant orange P was flashed into the sky. But I guarantee you this: he's going to beat the Cowboys next year, and they're going to do some sort of like carry him on their shoulders, Gatorade bath. It's going to be the Giants are going to be 5-11 with 2 wins against the Cowboys. And he's going to be seen as a hero.
That feels is still around? Can we get some of that feels in there?
Yeah, give me a feels.
I thought we were going to be sort of desperate for content today, but we're an hour and 30 minutes in.
I love it.
Oh, being an hour and 30 minutes in and obviously not desperate for content, do we just skip Darrelle Revis versus
Oh
Sherman?
yeah, that was fun.
Or I mean, is that like I was like, man, this is something we could put on the rundown if we need it. I mean, I feel like this is one of those both guys are right situations. Like Darrelle Revis is like, hey, real corners follow the best receiver around and lock them down, and Sherman's never been that guy. And Richard Sherman's like, have fun on your couch, buddy. How was your year 9 when you were garbage? And he's on his couch, and his year 9 was, not quite as garbage as Richard Sherman makes it out to seem, but like certainly wasn't Revis Island in year 9.
The thing that I'm most amazed by is that does Sherman like finish a game and just type in Richard Sherman on Twitter? Like,
yes.
Or does he have people working for
I
him?
think he has people that are
He has
watching.
people 100% working the Twitter feed saying like anything bad about me, send it to me. It's crazy.
Honestly, it's funny because at the end of that game, I almost tweeted it, but I didn't because I was like, I don't have the energy. But the Rodgers pass that was intercepted by Sherman, I almost was like, man, if I was a quarterback and I'm just going to take a shot, and there's a 40% chance it's going to get intercepted, I'm going to do it on any guy except Richard Sherman, because now he gets his free pick. That now he gets to do his post game. Everybody doubted me.
Yeah.
Look, I'm still here. Like 6 years to the day or whatever that his tip ended the NFC Championship game. It's like the only guy I'm not giving the chance for that game clinching interception is Richard Sherman. I'm like, I just don't want to hear it.
I love the Revis Sherman thing because usually once you retire, you sort of pay your respects, and this didn't happen at all.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't, it's obviously there's some beef, but like they weren't even in the same conference. They didn't play against each other. It's very weird.
Again, I feel like both people are kind of right, and like it's almost like, why do you guys even have? It is very petty by Revis to just be like, I'm on my couch watching football. I'm just gonna like screen grab Richard Sherman and call him out for not covering guys. Like he never has.
Yeah. Well, my favorite tweet yesterday was a fun follow was Patrick Doherty for NBC, and it was just like a picture of a wall with a TV, and he goes, "What is that? A TV for ants?" I thought that was a very funny Zoolander reference because it was like just a small shot of Sherman. It was weird. It was a weird tweet for Revis.
We're gonna do 2 quick basketball chats. We'll do a quick NBA trade talk and some college basketball. Thank God I have you here, Tug. But before we do that, support for this episode of the Dirty Sports also comes from Manscaped. Manscaped is the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Tug, I know you noticed when I walked in, I've got the compression pants on today. Somebody told me the compression pants would be good for my blood flow in my knee. I put them on, and my girlfriend lost her mind. This has changed the course of her life. She's now like some sort of compression pants stan. She's out looking at compression pants. She's exploring compression pants, hashtag compression pants. And I got to say, the one thing about these compression pants, I've never worn them before, never knew what to think. I'm pretty happy that I'm Manscaped. I'm not sure I'd be comfortable in compression pants if I was going with an unmanscaped nether region. It's 2020, and you know what that means. New year, new me, new balls. Man, listen up. Hairy bushes are so 2019. If you're going to pick any New Year's resolution this year, let it be to take care of your junk. Manscaped is making it easy with their grooming product. And don't use the same trimmer on your face as you're using on your balls. That's just dirty. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code DIRTY at manscaped.com. Manscaped also has the Crop Preserver and anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. You already put deodorant on your armpits. Why are you not putting deodorant on the smelliest part of your body? And I got to say, as a person who has been living in compression pants for 3 days, I am super happy that I have anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. As I said, you can get 20% off and free shipping with code DIRTY. That's DIRTY at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com when you use promo code DIRTY. Tug, is anything about this Blazers-Kings trade jump out at you as especially exciting? seems like a bit of a punt to me by the Blazers, shedding contracts. And I don't know what – I'm not really sure what the Kings are doing.
I mean, it's a whatever. I mean, let's just be honest. I think what's interesting, more interesting, that there might be several teams sub 500 getting in the playoffs in the West.
Yeah.
So
something we haven't seen in a long, long time out of the West.
Long time. And I think that, the Blazers are basically firmly in that sort of trying to get in, but they're 4 or 5 games under 500 right now.
The NBA came out hot this year, straight up until the unofficial start and Christmas. Taking a bit of a dip here. The NBA story of the day, besides the Kings-Blazers trade, is that LeBron watched his son play in a tournament in Springfield, Massachusetts, then hopped a chopper for his game in Boston tonight, Celtics-Lakers.
The Blazers are 18-26 right now.
Yes.
And they're 11th.
Can't believe Carmelo Anthony didn't turn around that team. Who could have seen that coming?
Right now, the Grizzlies, the Ja Morant-led Grizzlies, are in 8th place at 20-22.
Love Ja Morant.
The Spurs are 18-23, and the Phoenix and the Blazers are 18-24, 18-26.
And Zion Williamson returning for the Pelicans soon.
That's correct.
The only sort of exciting thing happening below the line.
They started terribly, and they've turned it around. And we should talk about this. I mean, they do have a player that some people on this couch have not
on this couch today.
Not today. But have the announce is terrible.
Yes.
And they did
Brandon Ingram was, skewered by Andy Ruther. Terrible. Bust was used multiple times. Bust.
Ruther bump? Is that the Ruther curse?
It's like when Ruther hates somebody and then they go off. Is that the Ruther curse? He's cursed them. He's reverse cursed.
I know you guys have sponsors, but soon you're gonna have like agents calling you and say, "Hey, can Ruther trash our player?"
Yeah, exactly. That'd be great. It's like that. Yeah, it's like the Madden curse. Like, whatever you do, can you make sure Andy Ruther just says our guy is going to suck his whole career?
I mean, you're right though about the dip and a lot of it's because the NFL's get the focus going there, which is like this is the time we want to shine. And we've seen the brakes being hit on the in-game tournaments.
Yeah.
Which you and I have been trying to wrap our head around how to make this. The idea seems interesting, but it just seems like how is this going to work?
Seems like they're trying to do too much at once here.
Yeah.
Then reshuffling the playoff seeding. My problem with the reshuffled playoff seeding or like the one big tournament or the one thing, it has always been if you're still going to play conferences and you're still going to play divisions, if somebody still gets to play the Knicks 5 times a year, 4 times a year, whatever the Sixers get to play the Knicks, how is it fair then for them to be judged on an overall, record versus another team? At least split it up to keep it conferences, and conferences all play the same amount of games against each other. But if you're still going to have division play, it's just not fair to be in a division with teams that are just trash, and you get some sort of record boost. And then they reshuffle you.
Any thoughts? I mean, the Knicks have been bad.
Yeah.
But are their young guys any good?
And now Barrett's on crutches,
Yeah.
and it's just such a long way from having a viable, winning situation. Makes me so mad. Tug,
Sure.
we'll wrap it up here with college basketball. 6 ranked teams lose on Saturday. All by double digits. That's the most that's ever happened in one day. 6 ranked teams all losing double digits losses. Honestly, majority of them kind of blowout losses. Tug Coker, State of the Union, NCAA men's basketball.
Absolutely crazy bonkers year. I mean, we talked about this. The other time I remember bringing this up, we talked about all the early season losses that had happened to start the year. Kentucky losing at home, Michigan State losing, Duke losing twice. Now we fast forward to now, Duke losing twice in the last week to a good Louisville team, but also to Clemson. And, this is the first time I looked to the rankings. And this is, about this time last year I said, let's focus on UVA kind of surprising the world and avenging their 16 versus 1 seed loss and, making them really bankable as national championship hopefuls. This year is crazy. I mean, I said this off camera, but Baylor is number 1 with Scott Drew at the helm. I just cannot believe I would take them for real. I just can't do it. Gonzaga at number 2, which a team that always seems to be lingering. Have had chances made to the finals the past couple of years. Then we have Kansas, which is a stalwart. San Diego State, Florida State, Louisville, Dayton, Duke, Villanova, Seton Hall.
Love it.
Wow,
Pirates.
Seton Hall back to the 1989 days.
I spent some days in West Orange in my time.
I mean, that team, they lost in overtime to go blue Michigan. But, I mean, this year's – you look at the other teams in here. I mean, West Virginia's in here. Auburn's in here. Butler, Oregon, who I like the Oregon guard a lot, who just had a nice game winner. Oregon's one of those teams I don't want to play in the tournament because I think they always have a good scheme and good coach.
And when you say you don't want to play Michigan,
anyone that I'm rooting for have money on.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be playing against Oregon. So, I mean, the first look is there's one undefeated team left, San Diego State.
Is Steve Fisher still coaching?
No,
now?
he's no longer
he's gone,
there.
Right?
Yep. But maybe this is it's just the continued resurgence of Kawhi.
Yeah.
Everything Kawhi touches is turning to gold right now. We'll see if the Clippers can follow suit. Anyone's game this year. I mean, Texas Tech is well coached. They're ranked 18th. The one team that's disappointing right now is obviously Virginia. They just can't get any scoring. No ability to they haven't really found two first rounders left last year and a second rounder. They haven't found anyone to kind of fill
Not
in.
quite the Duke, Kentucky style of reloading.
There's no reloading going on. Yeah, and and Michigan was another team that started off so strong, and they've kind of flattened out a little bit. It's tough to get wins in the Big Ten, and they're not doing it right now. So, I mean, you have Michigan State was a team in the Final Four last year at 11. My point is this: this is gonna be crazy.
Michigan got blowed out by Purdue recently.
Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kentucky is a team that's they're ranked 15th right now. I mean, it's anybody's game. Auburn's a Final Four turnee from last year, back in the top 25. Nick, I mean, you basically just graduated. I know your ears are on the ground about what's going on in college hoops. What are your thoughts?
Sorry, what's going on in college hoops? I pay no
turn the mic back down. Thanks a lot, Nick.
What's going on in college hoops?
Nick, before we go, do we have any comments,
Yes.
criticisms, critiques, comments?
Yes,
I know
guys.
Andy Ruther's probably in the comments with.
The Andy Ruther's not in the what's now be deemed the hashtag dirtball comments section.
Okay.
Guys, subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn on the post noties, and then you too can be part of the dirtball comment section.
Wow, look at this.
Our first question comes from Stanga. So Praino and Ruther both wear yoga pants now. When is Tug gonna join the party?
It's a really good question. I mean, is there a sponsor? I'll wear anything for the sponsors of the show, but there's not. So I'm going to
Has
say
Andy been in yoga pants recently as well?
I'm not sure, but
he's definitely in
apparently-
sweats. Definitely in.
Yeah.
There's
Sweats,
multiple
for
episodes
sure.
of him being sweats. I mean, neither one of us are. We're too big to do the Andy Ruther curl up.
Yeah.
Where we both have both feet up on the couch.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do the Andy Ruther curl up again. And honestly, I've never I've seen this look through, this is something that's taken the NBA by storm
Absolutely
recently,
has.
and the compression bands. Somebody said it's really good if you've got a lot of swelling. And honestly, this is a medical, I took an approach here for medical reasons. But I got to say, guys, the effect that it has had on my girlfriend is she is slip sliding around her apartment. I'm following her around with a mop and bucket when she sees me in these yoga pants. So look, if you got a girlfriend, guys, show up in some of these compression pants. Apparently, it'll do. It's not just for your blood flow. I'll leave it at that.
Next question comes from Kyle Arnofsky. Can the NFL gain more interest for the Pro Bowl, or should they just stop doing it?
I almost feel like the NFL doesn't want interest in I feel like the NFL has just the right amount of interest in the Pro Bowl. It's just something that garners mild interest and keeps people that are loose football fans from completely abandoning shit before the Super Bowl. It's I mean, have you ever watched a Pro Bowl? I don't think I've watched a Pro Bowl since I was 12.
Exactly. It's been years. But I will say this. I don't think they're going to get rid of it for a couple reasons. One, agents build these things into people's contracts.
Yeah.
These are part of the base salaries. It's it's an incentive to get the Pro Bowl. So that's the reason for people to keep having the Pro Bowl around, at least the NFL. And two, it still rates. It doesn't do massive numbers that the NFL games do, But like on a
Yeah.
Sunday when there's nothing else on, it still brings in 4 or 5 million people.
I gotta say, the one thing that I cannot believe has not become a part of the Pro Bowl weekend and the Pro Bowl experience. Do you remember the old quarterback challenge that they did in
yeah.
the Bahamas? And the footballs had billiards chalk on the front, and they were hitting moving targets.
They did bring this back, I think, not too long ago.
But just go for the don't overthink it. Go to the exact old style with guys driving golf carts with targets attached to it. They had literally. I remember back in the day, it was like Marino, Elway, Montana. It was like all the fucking great guys, and it was so much fucking fun. Like the All-Star game, you get the home run derby. Like, I need this quarterback challenge. I need it.
Well, if they don't have it, if they do have it now, they need to showcase it more.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing Russell Wilson in one recently, but yeah, I agree.
I just need the
more skills challenges.
old
for sure.
format. Just
Yeah.
bring me back. Give me the old format. We have one last one.
One last one. We just want to hear a little Kittle and Kelsey comparison. Is this the Spider-Man meme happening in the Super Bowl between Kittle and Kelsey?
I mean, I think I know Travis Kelce has sort of been the premier tight end in football the last few years. I think if you look at the Andy Reid offense, not that Kelce isn't a fantastic tight end, but it just seems like even the Andy Reid coaching tree seems like every year Ertz, look out for Dallas Goedert, the guys who play in that system tend to get a ton of opportunities. Kittle, from his blocking to his ability after the catch to just shed people, I think Kittle is the premier tight end in football right now. But Kelsey is certainly statistically and the way he fits into that offense with Mahomes. I mean, he's on his way to the Hall of Fame.
I think both of them are would I like either one of them if I was in a room with them? Would they both annoy me?
I feel like Kelsey for sure would.
Kelsey at one point had he had basically his own version of The Bachelor on E!
Yeah. Kelsey, I'd for sure hate Kelsey.
Yeah.
Kittle, at first I was like, oh, and then his hair the last couple weeks, I'm like, what is this looking?
I think Kelsey is some sort it's funny, the tight end position is they bring in all the crazies, right? Because Gronk was like the fun guy. He was like an innocent, you could put him on network television.
And
Kittle,
then Aaron Hernandez, the opposite of innocent, not innocent, very guilty.
I mean, there should be a Marvel Comics for tight ends.
Yeah.
There's just a bunch of crazies.
Yeah. All
Hernandez,
kind of
Gronk,
superhero vibes too.
Yeah,
all superhero builds.
Yeah.
They're all Thors.
They're all Thors. I mean, this would be this should be an SNL sketch where these guys are in a room. I mean, Kittle it seems borderline scary. Kelsey is just erratic, but he's also a guy that's has people checking his social media for him. But to talk about on-field performance, I mean, I think Kittle might be the more complete tight end. I mean, obviously everyone talks about how good of a blocker he is and his ability to run through people, but the security blanket that Kelsey is for Mahomes, you just can't.
And also just the way that he's a security blanket, but he's also he's a crazy weapon that's also a check down from insane weapons.
Yeah.
I
love this. I love this comic book thing of tight ends. But it makes me think of one other last point. Manny Sanders getting traded, going to the Niners, getting off the Broncos, going to Niners. So that's kind of a cool win for him. The other thing I was going to bring up is Terrell Suggs got waived by the Cardinals. Openly said, I want to go back to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Got claimed by the Chiefs. Now has to settle for playing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry,
buddy.
Pretty
stoked. Yeah.
I'm bummed for you.
Since Thor and superheroes came up, I gotta throw a little shout out to Did you see what Noah Syndergaard was doing down here in the South Bay this weekend?
No.
He was playing volleyball on the beach with a 80-pound medicine ball.
What?
Yeah, he was out on the. It was literally some fucking Thor shit. He was out on the beach with a bunch of other jacked dudes shirtlessly throwing around an 80-pound medicine ball over a volleyball net. They were playing volleyball with an 80-pound medicine ball. It was
more like Nukem, right? They're catching it and throwing it back over.
Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, insane.
Well, and last thing.
Another guy who you're like, seems like a fun dude. Would I like him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to know, as you're kind of resting up, you tweeted this out the other day, things that you're watching. Quick 60-second review on the shows you've been into.
So the first one I got into when I got suggestions, Brockmire. I'd had it on my radar for a while. It's now available on Hulu. I watched the whole first season of Brockmire. Liked it. Wasn't like psycho about it, but like liked it. I'll give it a B+. A nice solid B+ for hydrocodone in between hydrocodone naps, like 2 22-minute episodes. Pass out for a minute. Really fun, funny. I'm a baseball guy, so like all poor baseball scenes. Like I get it, it's supposed to be dumb and fun, but like bad baseball scenes always kill me. So that's like I shouldn't be holding that against Brockmire.
It's hard
but
to.
I am.
It's really hard to.
A lot of good cameos from other sports guys. Joe Buck. They had Kirkton in there. It was fun. Amanda Peet is great. I liked it. Will I continue on to season 2? I think I watched the first episode of season 2. I'm going to have a lot of bedtime, a lot of recovery. I'll probably get through Brockmire. And then I didn't really get to do that much. And then I got a lot of the suggestions people gave me are things I'd already watched. The amount of people that were like, Peaky Blinders. It's like, guys, how have you missed it? I've watched every episode of Peaky Blinders the second it came out. That I'm like, I had somebody ship me a British DVD player and like the BBC copies so I could watch Peaky Blinders early. I think Gomorrah is on is lingering because I think I watched one episode back in the day and liked it. And then I started last night The Outsider on HBO and caught up on the first 3 episodes of that. Wild. At first, it seems like it's going to be just like every single thing is these days. Somebody's dead. Who did it? True Detective. Every podcast out there. But there's 3 episodes in. There's definitely some sort of paranormal something happening. Not to spoil it too much. And I like that. So I haven't gotten into a lot. I will dive back into everybody's suggestions. Maybe I'll make a list of the suggestions, cross out things I've already seen, and maybe rank what we're going to go to next.
I'm assuming you've done Barry, you've done Succession.
Yeah, Barry. Most of the HBO stuff, Barry, Succession, Silicon Valley, all that stuff, I take out.
Yeah.
I give most HBO stuff a chance right out of the gate, and I either bail on it or I don't.
Well, that's what's amazing about HBO. It's like they've developed such a pedigree.
Love
it's
Barry. Love Succession's unbelievable.
Me too.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. I know you're going.
Thank you. If you have any suggestions for me,
I will.
Still waiting for Now We're Talking season 2.
Oh, guys.
Can I get a screener?
Well, yeah, I'll send it to you. And more lawyer conversations this week. I'm going to start posting once a month on the first of the month, the Now We're Talking update. I want this to be the biggest show that no one has ever seen.
Yeah. Tug, where can everybody find you? What should people be looking for?
Yep. Tug Coker on Twitter and Instagram. Got a show coming up that I acted on coming out mid-February. I'm excited about that. So check my Instagram for some of the pictures I took on that. I've taken a lot of pictures from Dirty Sports today. I'll be posting on those on Instagram as well. But I want to say this. Andy's coming back. I've had a blast being here, but I do it because I love Joe, love Andy, and I love talking to the Dirt Balls. So thank you to you and Andy for having me on, and I'm always happy to help you guys.
I mean, this episode proved a rule. We thought we were light on comments, or we thought we were light on content. If it's the Twin Towers, it's gonna be 2 hours. That's the rule. Nick, you're on Twitter, Instagram, all that jazz.
Nick Dale with 4 A's on Instagram. Nick D'Alessandro 9 on TikTok. I don't post anything, but if you guys want to send me your funny videos, I'm always down for a little TikTok DM convo.
At Andy Ruther on all social media. Follow our boy. He returns this week. Can't wait for Andy's return. I'm at Fix Your Life on Twitter. Joe Praino on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. It's all that matters. And go to joepraino.com to check to see if I'm still doing shows in your neighborhood, which I am if you are in Colorado, Aspen, or Boulder, if you're in Birmingham, Alabama, if you're out in the Palm Springs area. A bunch of other shows, joepraino.com. Go there, and don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Send us a screenshot of that, and Andy will get back and start sending out koozies again. And, of course, the most important thing, to never forget, stay dirty.